Landon Donovan is in dreamland. He will get one more MLS Cup Final.
Hello and welcome to MLSGB TV. In this show we'll be looking forward to the MLS Cup Final that takes place this Sunday between LA Galaxy and New England Revolution at the StubHub Centre. Joining me to preview the game is the MLSGB team in the shape of Louis East and Lewis Adley, and later on we will also be joined by Jamie Ives. It's been a long, tough season, but finally we will reach a conclusion at the weekend, and one of these two sides will be crowned MLS Cup winners for 2014. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Now Louis, LA Galaxy are in the final. They struggled in the second leg against Seattle, but they got there on the away goals rule. Is it a concern for them, or are they still the favourites?
Well, they're still going to be the favourites because of the fact that they're at home here. They're the top seed. They've had a great season, and their home form makes them rightly the favourites here. The result at Seattle, I mean, it's poor in terms of they've lost the game, but Seattle Sounders won the Supporters' Shield, as we all know. So I don't think they'll take too much. They won't be too upset by that. I think they'll be very confident going into this game, and they'll expect to have a repeat performance against New England as they beat them in the regular season.
Yeah, and Lewis, how do you view it?
Yeah, again, I think previous games I've written off here. This is knockout. It's the biggest game for them of the season now. I think you can't disregard the Revs whatsoever, but I think Galaxy are in a really strong position for this game, especially being at home.
So obviously they're hunting down a record 5th MLS Cup title, which is obviously a huge incentive for them going forward. They did have a couple of struggles on their way. Obviously the defeat to Seattle, but also the 0-0 draw in Real Salt Lake. Do you think that'll be a problem for them, or do you think it's all about this one game now?
I don't think so too much, because they showed at home their ability to rectify something that hadn't really even gone wrong. 0-0's not a bad result. Yeah, they could have done with the away goal, but then they go and win 5-0. It's a warning message to whoever's going to come and play them. You could say it's a case of they're strongest when they're at their weakest.
And most importantly, when they're at home, they're so strong at home. I mean, they haven't lost a home game since March, first game of the season against Real Salt Lake. So for New England to go here and try and win this in normal time, that's going to be a serious challenge for them. But they'll be confident because their form's the best in MLS right now. They've stormed through the playoffs, drew the second leg at home to Red Bulls. That's the only time they've not won a game in the playoffs. So New England will be confident. But I think if you're an LA fan, you are expecting to see your side lift a 5th MLS Cup here.
Well, obviously we're expecting a sellout at the stadium, filled with mainly LA Galaxy fans, you would presume at this stage. What would you say are the key players for LA Galaxy? Who's gonna be a game changer?
Well, Lee Win, as he has been all season, MVP candidate. He's been the difference, hasn't he? I mean, Jermaine Jones has come in and he's another key player because he's been incredible. But for the Revs, everything has to go through Lee Win. We've seen that in the playoffs as well. The first leg against Red Bulls in the Eastern Conference Championship game, he was quiet by his standards, didn't really influence the game as much, and then last 10 minutes comes alive, starts the move that scores the winning goal. So Lee Win's undoubtedly the key player here for the Revs. If he has a bad game, I can't see the Revs creating enough around goal to trouble the Galaxy, but obviously they'll have a plan to deal with him themselves.
So do you think that the arrival of Jermaine Jones, Lewis, has helped Lee Win express himself? Do you think that if Jermaine Jones hadn't arrived when he did, do you think the Revs would be in the final?
No, I don't. I think he's proved exactly the difference that one key player can make, and he's perfect sitting in front of the back four in that 4-2-3-1. It's given Win the opportunity to have freedom of the pitch, and I just don't see how they would have progressed this far without Jermaine Jones. He's played 14 odd games for them now, and every game has been vital.
They've lost only once. They've lost only once with him in the team. So
that's an amazing record.
Incredible.
To have.
So if that can, that's the thing here. If they don't have to win the game in normal time. I mean, they're away from home in the MLS Cup Final. They can play for the draw, and
absolutely,
and their fitness might show through in the end. But yeah, Jermaine Jones and Win.
Well, that was the key for them, wasn't it? Against the Red Bulls in the home tie, the second leg, they were 2-1 down. They had to come back. and Charlie Davis getting on the score sheet twice in that game. But in the last 10 minutes of the game, it was their fitness levels that shone over the New York Red Bulls that eventually got them over the line. And now Charlie Davis has scored 4 goals in the playoffs alone. He only scored 3 goals in the regular season all season. I mean, what's happened? What's happened there? How's he transformed his season?
I think it's not so much of a transformed season in my opinion, but I think he's shown that he can do it when it really matters, you know. And not many people were expecting him to come alive in the way he has, but digging him out of trouble there against New York with the 2 goals. And I think he's going to be a player that's going to need to be watched in the final, because if Galaxy aren't expecting him to be the key man, as we all know, they're going to be really looking at Lee Win, as everyone has against the Reds
And
this
rightly
season.
so, you
Absolutely.
would say.
I think, you know, it could be a real thorn for them, because he can pop up with the goal. He's proved that.
It's almost the dark horse that goes under the radar, isn't it? You've got Lee Win as the key man in central midfield. You've got Jermaine Jones, who's an absolute rock. They're going to be the players that the Galaxy will look to try and stop. But can Davis make an impact, though?
Yeah, I think it's confidence, isn't it, with strikers? We say it all the time. When you're confident as a striker, you score goals. And the thing is here, there are the key players in Win and Jones, as we've mentioned, but the whole Revs team are so confident because they've been winning football matches, which is going to lift the spirits across the team, and the fans as well. More and more fans turning up to Gillette Stadium to watch them. Obviously they can't this weekend, but hopefully that carries into next season. But as far as Charlie Davis goes, he'll be on top of the world right now. He's got players like Win and Jones around him, providing him with crosses. Till Bunbury's looking good. He's trying to get balls into the box, and he's got 2 goals in the last game he played. So Davis will be coming into this hungry for more and hungry for success with the Revs. Also
wanting to further prove that he's not a player who is only popping up with the odd goal here and there in the season. You know, he's freely scored in the playoffs, which is no mean feat.
So there's a lot of key players obviously on show for Revolution. They're a team throughout. They're a complete side, aren't they? For the LA Galaxy at home, there's going to be pressure on them because obviously they haven't won anything this season. They're looking to lift silverware. They won it in 2011 and 2012, but now they're looking to go on and lift it again for a record 5th time. What's going to be the key for them?
Well, Landon Donovan, for a start. It's his finale, his send-off, his big game. All eyes on Donovan, and he's going to have to make the most of the occasion because they need their stars, and he's been a star for the Galaxy for years and years. This will be his 4th MLS Cup with the Galaxy if he can lift this. And they're going to need him to turn up. Playing against Andrew Farrell down the right side for New England, that's going to be interesting because Farrell's got pace.
It's a big ask, isn't it?
Donovan likes to get in behind, but Farrell can handle himself, and so I think Donovan's form's going to be key here because, as I say, everyone's going to be watching him, and if he can do what he did against Real Salt Lake in a game that could have potentially been his last, then he turned up, scored a hat-trick with an assist as well. One of the best performances we've seen from him in years, and if he can repeat that, then the Revs have got no chance because even at his age now, looking into retirement, when he plays well, the Galaxy win.
He seems to be getting better and better as well. You know, does he need to retire? Maybe not. But if he goes out on a high like this, and I mean, you've got to look at the big game performers. I mean, Robbie Keane has been there and done it over his career. Maybe not with trophy success, but he's scored everywhere.
Always
he's played.
pops up with a goal.
Again, this season, the pair of them hitting double figures is something that really has to be considered, and that's where they differ from the Revs for me. I think, you know, you've got 2 really high goal scorers there straight up front, whereas the Revs have had their goals come from midfield but sort of all over the place.
Well, you got Jesse Zardes as well here. 16 goals in the regular season, and he can't be forgotten because him and Keane's
played
partnership.
36 games he's appeared in this season across the regular season and the playoffs. People forget how crucial consistency is, and looking at consistency, Juninho playing in central midfield, he's played every game for them this season in the regular season and in the playoffs. He hasn't scored all season. His team needs him. They're 2-0 down. They're going out. Who pops up and bangs in the away goal? It's Juninho. What a moment for him.
Changes the tie completely, doesn't it? At that point, it sounded on Sunday night, it looked like they're cruising through it 2-0 up, and Juninho pops up, as you say, his only goal of the season, and what a time to score it. I mean, great strike off the post. And again, he'll need to be key this weekend.
I think it proves a big side mentality as well. You know, when you're at a hard back to the wall position like that, and someone who isn't expected to come up and scores shows the resilience to push forward and win a game.
Well, this is it. He's a central defensive midfielder. He's been at the heart of the team every single game, and it's consistency that's crucial. A lot of the limelight goes to the players such as Keane and Donovan and Zardes because they're the guys that create and score the goals. But you have to remember how crucial it is to have these type of players in your side to hold it all together. He's played 38 games and his past success rate is 89%. I mean, that's Premier League quality, isn't it?
That's impressive. I mean, Marcelo Sarvas as well deserves great credit because the pair of them work so well together. One goes forward, one sits back. And they've been, as you say, when teams concentrate and set up to defend against Zardes, Keane, Donovan, it's the players like Juninho and Sarvas that can find space. And that's going to be key this weekend because the man you're trying to find space against is Jermaine Jones, and he won't give you an inch. The problem being for him, if he's got to mark 2 players at once, he's going to need help. So, as you say, Juninho and Sarvas are so important, and I think one of them could come up big again, as they did against Seattle, because Revs are going to know who to mark here. They're going to know that Keane and Donovan are the threats. Zardes can drift off. But the support from midfield could win this for Galaxy.
Yeah,
I think as well, a point needs to be mentioned is Pinedo in that RSL game with a big performance in the 0-0 tie. If we're going to expect Galaxy to sort of be on the forefront of the game with the home advantage and their style of play, but then you have the Revs on the counter, he's going to have to be alert. If he's doing very little for big periods of the game and then you have a fast counter-attack which suits the Revs so well.
Well, that was a major concern. Despite his great performance in the 0-0 draw, he was at fault for a goal in the second leg against Seattle as Dempsey's strike somehow wriggled its way through his legs. I mean, is that a concern? Would his confidence be knocked, or do you think he'll still be flying high as well as the rest
I
of the
don't
team?
think so. Every big keeper makes mistakes. Some do it in the big games, and that's where you need a really strong side who can...
A team performance to drag you over the line. Because he helped his team over the line against Real Salt Lake. His team helped him over the line against Seattle.
They repaid the favour.
That's the way
and
it works.
that's exactly
in football,
how a big side works. No one gets on top of each other for a mistake, and things that go wrong, it's just rectified really easily.
So LA Galaxy are a great team. Here is how they got their way to the final.
Again around Gonzalez, knocked down from Plata. Salaria's touch, Joao Plata's onside. Joao Plata saved once again. Going into the advantage as well. Morales tipped over by Pinedo. Sabas, little dink over the top to Lagaza. Donovan is there! Now then Donovan, that's a slicing through ball for him. Keane, did he get onside? He did! Now Donovan looking to apply the punch round the keeper. He goes. Donovan has done it quite brilliantly. Rogers all want to get on the act now. Sabas skipping around. Marcelo Sabas drives in what is surely the final nail in RSL's coffin. Here, scoop over the top for Donovan, who has his hat-trick. Oh, the shot is deflected, and this time the Galaxy have their reward. Seattle trying to do something about that. Martins. Oh, Dempsey is popped up. Dempsey must be. It is. And it comes towards Martins. Dempsey. Oh, Pinedo has let it slip past him. Donovan. Juninho. Oh, it's gone in. It's an absolute jewel of a goal for Juninho. And all of a sudden, LA and Landon Donovan are back in the driver's seat.
Now, their opponents, New England Revolution, have been in great form going into this contest. How well have they done to get to this point, and have they got enough to finally win an MLS Cup?
Well, it's going to come down to defensive qualities for the Revs. Kept one clean sheet away from home all season in a 3-0 win against Toronto. So you'd assume that the Galaxy are going to get their firepower's going to shine through and they're going to score again here. But it could end up being like a sort of shooting contest. Both teams have got attacking talents, and it could just be trying to outscore the other. But at the same time, depending on how they approach it, they could both sort of double bluff each other and sort of sit and wait for the counter. Which, if that happens, if both teams are waiting for the counter, we're not going to see both sides exerting their attacking potential. But for me, the concern is the Revs' defence, because Gonçalves and Soares, good partnership, know each other well, played together for lots of the season. But as I say, the clean sheets away from home just don't seem to happen for them, and that's got to be a concern for Jay Heaps and the coaching staff.
So, Lewis, with that defensive frailty that sometimes pops up for New England Revolution, as we saw against the Red Bulls, I mean, they were very shaky in that second leg. Do you think that they're going to approach this in a way that they have to go for it at the StubHub Centre?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you look at the way they like to counter, and they've played Christiani as a winger as well as a fullback this season. So maybe if they decided they wanted to play with some more defensive qualities, they could drop Kevin Alston back in at left back with Tierney in front. We've seen this work well previously in other competitions across the globe, really. And you've got Tierney, who could be bombing on but then drop back if they do need to defend, which we know full well they're going
Almost
to.
double up on that left-hand side.
I mean, if things aren't going well, he could drop back on the same level as the back four, so it almost becomes a back five to steady the ship.
He's likely to be marking Stefan Ishizaki, who his form's been good in recent weeks as well. He's sort of he doesn't really get talked about as much, but he is a threat for the Galaxy down the right, whips and crosses in, which they do score goals from. I think he's got 4 assists this season. So, yeah, if you're playing 2 defensive players in Tierney and Alston at left back, you've certainly got the cover down the right. The concern would be on the other side of the ball when you've got Robbie Rogers and Landon Donovan running at Andrew Farrell. As I've said before, Farrell can handle Donovan, but with Rogers overlapping as well, will he be able to?
A 2-on-1 situation.
Yeah, I don't know how they'll deal with that, because Bunbury's going to have to be tracking Rogers, and as we know, his defensive qualities aren't really. He doesn't ooze defensive qualities, does he?
I think that again is going to highlight where the Revs are going to need to be so strong in the defensive midfield area. You know, if you see your right back struggling with wingers, then you, as a centre mid in any level of football, you have to come across
and help your teammate out.
Which Jones did against Henry during the Red Bulls game. He kept covering across to the right hand side to help Farrell out, marking Henry. The two of them battled throughout, and he might have to do that again with Donovan. But it will be intriguing to see how both sides set up, because the tactics are so different. And it should be great.
Well, obviously the Galaxy are at home, so we're probably expecting them to dominate possession and possibly dominate the play. So that would put New England Revolution under pressure at the back. We spoke a lot about Pinedo saving LA Galaxy. Do you think Bobby Shuttleworth is going to have a big role to play? Do you think he's going to have a lot of shots to stop?
I think absolutely. You know, both keepers are going to have a big part of the game, as you said. But when you're a keeper going into a game where you're almost expecting to be on the back foot slightly, especially the magnitude of the game we're in here, he's going to need a big performance from the core in front of him, but at the same time be on his game all the time. But I think that will be an almost easier task for him than Pinedo, because if he's continuously involved in the game, he's going to not really lose focus, where if Pinedo's only stopping things on a counter-attack, he could be more susceptible.
Yeah, we've seen Pinedo's prone to a mistake. Shuttleworth not so much. So he's a good keeper. He's often under pressure because of the defensive frailties that sometimes emerge. But the added incentive that he let 5 in against this Galaxy side early in the season, he'll be wanting to rectify that. He'll want a clean sheet, undoubtedly, and they've got a great chance of lifting the MLS Cup if he can keep a clean sheet. But the worry will be the amount that he's going to have to save, because.
Will it be overloaded?
A goalkeeper can only do so much, and if the Galaxy take this by the scruff of the net and just attack, then he's going to be kept so busy, and he can't save everything, as we know. But definitely Pinedo's more prone to a mistake, but both keepers will be on their best for this. It's
a fascinating game, isn't it, really? Because it's two sides that are both capable of going for it. They're also both capable of shutting games out at times. So it's the beauty of the game, in a sense, that we are either going to see a free-for-all, or we could just see a stalemate that ends up going to penalty kicks.
Yeah, I mean, it could, as you say, it could be either, quite feasibly. But
it's the beauty of the game, though, isn't it? It could go either
perfectly
way.
Perfectly poised for this one. And
well, it's perfectly poised, Lewis, and I'm gonna put you on the spot now. Before you shoot off, what is your prediction for this? Call it.
I think it will be a Galaxy win, just given their history and the winning mentality that they'll take into the game, and obviously the Landon Donovan factor. So I'm going to go with 2-1 to Galaxy. I'm going to go with Robbie Keane and Donovan with an equal share, and Lewin on the response. Whether or not it will be a 2-0 straight up, I think the Revs could get the first goal. If we see a first half of continuous Galaxy attacking, the Revs could counter, as we've said. But I think it could be a 2-1 win.
Okay, well, now we're going to take a look at how the Revs got to the final, and afterwards we'll be joined by Jamie Ives.
AJ So has just unmarked to the present moment offside. I would keep your eyes on him.
Rose ball in. Oh, look at that. Davies will head it in. this away goal and a lead in the series. 1-0 Revs. Tierney curls it in. 2-0. The Revs have a second away goal and a 2-goal advantage. Chris Tierney with a master stroke. Header by Swords, not clear. Traps there, cuts it back. Merritt will pull one back for the crew. 2-1. And now a potential 3-on-2, 3-on-3 for the Reds. Jones got clipped behind the play. Now wins, still going, scores 3-1. Now Davies takes a shot off the post and in. 4-1. The run up and the chip, and it's 4-2.
Nice intervention there by Garrick. Still for Davies. Win. It goes to Davies. And the 2 in the first leg. Crossed it in for Gonzalez. Both in. Back in the way. Miron, who won the free kick, will take it. He scored in the first leg. Now gets it to Johnny. Yes! Stuck it in. The postseason goes on. Keep in mind, we take the international break of the postseason. Davo gets it in. This is onside. Bunbury, yeah! Trying to direct traffic right now as he hands it wide for Bunbury. Bunbury dances this way past Ayongo. Teal Bunbury! What a goal! Great first touch by Ayongo to get away from Wynn. And it's Luyendula now with Simpson behind. Luyendula saved by Shuttleworth. The rebound is off the bar. The follow-up is in. Bradley Wright Phillips. And the game is tied. Charging forward for New England. Mullins opening up wide to the left. Wynn's looking back to the right. And it's going to find Teal Bunbury, who scores it for Jones. And New England grab the goal and grab the lead. It's a guy for Henry. Gets it away, dropping it in for Tim Cahill. The box. Jose Gonzalez can't do it up. Cahill posts it this time. As the fans are rising to their feet. Played short for Wynn. Back out wide for Tierney. Tierney's ball in. Roma stays at home. It's knocked down. It was up and 10. The Revolution have their goal. Cahill started the sequence, bring it down to the air. Sam trying to return for Cahill. Can't quite get to it. It's knocked down the box. Luyendula and score. Caldwell now. Wide again for Tierney. Tierney's cross. Header, goal. Charlie Davies. Revolution back in front.
Hello, Jamie. Welcome to the show. Looking ahead to the final, how do you think both of these sides will approach the game? Will they make any changes?
It's hard to see. I don't think the Galaxy will change anything to start off with. I think they will go into the game thinking they are at home. They should be the dominant side. They'll go with their approach. The Revolution, I don't expect them to change. They've got a great system there. It allows Lee Win the freedom, as I've already said. So I can't see any of them changing. I just think the Galaxy may want to adopt the approach of playing another midfielder just to strengthen against Jermaine Jones and Scott Caldwell.
With that in mind, Louis, I mean, New England Revolution haven't lost the game since September. They're flying at the moment, aren't they? And lots been made of LA Galaxy being at home, hunting down that 5th title. Do you think that the Revolution, surely they're just on an unstoppable run at the moment, and they just carry on the way they're doing?
It does look like that. I mean, I've been saying for weeks, if the Revs do make the final, then I fancy him to go all the way and lift it lift the MLS Cup. For me, an early goal in this one will set this up for either side. If the Galaxy score an early goal, it's not necessarily a bad thing for the Revs. They've shown their resilience. They can come from behind. And the danger is if Galaxy do score early, they're going to have to sit back. And that's going to invite pressure from the Revs, which they succeed by doing that. But at the same time, if the Revs score early, they can then sit back and counter, which it's that counter-attacking philosophy I think that we're going to see the Revs adopt here, because Galaxy will dominate possession. They're at home. They're going to support. Landon Donovan's going to be pumped up for this, and the whole crowd are going to just be expecting to see him lifting the trophy at the end of the night. So the Revs haven't got as much pressure on in that sense, but I think they'll believe in themselves that they've come this far, and they'll think they're the best team in MLS right now, and they'll see no reason why they can't go and lift the trophy. And a patient approach is what could see them through.
I know it's a different squad to bygone era for the Revolution, but do you think they'll be feeling the pressure of the fact that the team has in the past been to 4 MLS Cup finals and failed every single time? Do you think there's an added pressure now, in the sense that this is the 5th time they've been there? If they fail again, surely it's becoming a bit of a problem for them, or do you think that it won't matter?
I think the fans won't forget the fact that they've been there that many times and not won it, so obviously that will play on their minds. They are the away side, so I don't think they'll be expecting to win. But
there won't be as much expectation as there will for the Galaxy.
Exactly, the Galaxy, going for their 5th win. They're definitely the underdogs Revolution, but
you know, they went away in both of their playoff games. They scored 4 against the Columbus. They beat the Red Bulls away from home. You know, they've won both their away games in the playoffs.
Yeah, they don't seem to be fearing anyone.
Exactly. They go there and they attack.
They do their job and they do what they want to do. I mean, I suppose LA Galaxy, the only advantage they hold is that they're a very experienced MLS Cup side. They've been there, they've done it many times before. Like you've said, obviously, the key man, Landon Donovan, in his last game. Surely it's written in the stars for him to be the hero. Do you think?
Well, it is, but at the same time, if the Revs can go and win this, ruin his sort of last game, his finale, end it on a sour note for him, it almost sends a message out to the rest of Major League Soccer that the Revs are here to play and try and start defending titles that the Galaxy have dominated for years. Because people like Lee Wynn and Jermaine Jones, they're not at the end yet. They've got a couple of years of dominance if they can stay together and keep the team philosophy the same. So, although it's set up for Donovan to have a dream ending, and I'm sure a lot of neutrals do want to see that across America and here in the UK as well, but the Revs have got the chance here to just send a real marker out. If they haven't already, I mean, their form's been excellent, but to go and do that when all the tension's on Galaxy and Donovan, if they go and win it, who says they can't defend it next year, even when with 2 more teams?
Well, this is the point at which sides can either go on to be a very good team or an average team, isn't it? You know, New England Revolution push one season. If they don't win it, they may not push next season. Whereas if they win this, they can set the benchmark and they can become one of the biggest teams in MLS, don't you think, Jamie?
I'd agree with that, definitely. Yeah, with the injection of Jermaine Jones, they've become a great force in MLS. LA Galaxy already have foundations, obviously, with Donovan, and Omar Gonzalez had a great core there. With the Revolution, Jones was a key piece of the puzzle in allowing players like Lee Wynn to advance forward, give them much more threat going forward. And also defensively, Jones does a lot of work. It's something that he has very much a presence in the midfield. He wins most of his headers.
Well,
he can play at centre-back as well.
Yeah,
and you look back to the regular season when LA Galaxy played New England Revolution, a 5-1 win for the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Will that be playing on the Revs' mind, or will they not think about that?
I don't think they will, because it will feel like so long ago now. The whole team's changed. It's the modern style of football that they play. Jay Heaps has got it absolutely right with his coaching. 4-2-3-1's worked for them. We see it across Europe, but not so much in MLS. This year we've seen a few sides adopting it, but the Revs have absolutely flourished by playing 4-2-3-1. The fitness is there for us all to see, and that could be a key factor if this game goes the full length as it did last year's final. So I think the Revs are here set up for a victory. They've stormed through, and I think they're going to surprise a few people.
Well, we always see it, don't we? We always say about the form going into the final is crucial, and the Revs, like I said, unbeaten since September. Galaxy have stuttered in phases here and there. I mean, they've got themselves there in the end, but do you think their form will be the ultimate factor then?
To be honest, like the Galaxy, they have stuttered in stages, as you said, but they've always managed to get the job done. Yeah. Which, is the most important thing. You could play utterly dreadful and win 1-0, and it doesn't really matter. The fans don't care how you play really if you're successful. Going back to what you said about the 5-1 loss, I think it will affect the Revs. If anything, it will spur them on to win this game. Being humiliated 5-1, no one likes that.
Seeking revenge.
Exactly. Like obviously, Jermaine Jones wasn't around for that game. I don't believe.
No, he wasn't.
So it won't play on his mind too much. But Lee Wynn, they'll remember that. These players, Till Bunbury, Charlie Davis, they'll remember that 5-1 loss and they'll want to avenge it.
Yeah.
The interesting thing for me is the form. We all say form's so important here. That's why there is a difference between the Supporters' Shield and the MLS Cup. LA Galaxy have only won 2 of their last 7 games. That's not the form of a side that should be favourites here. When you think the Revs have only lost 1 of their last 9, so one of the last 10. Sorry, so unbeaten in 9 games. The Revolution, they're not here to walk in and get beat 2-3-0. I think worst case scenario for them, they get a draw and then it goes to extra time and perhaps the lottery of penalties. Yeah.
So Jamie, I put you on the spot now.
Here we go.
What do you think?
I think, going back to what Louis said about form, I think form doesn't come into it.
It's the buzzword at the moment, but
I don't think it comes into it. I think it's a one-off game. If you don't play well, you're not going to win. I think the Revs have to show up, regardless of form. LA Galaxy will show up.
It counts for nothing now, doesn't it?
It
doesn't matter what's happened.
Yeah, that's to a certain extent. They have both won their conference championships, which is a success in itself. But I suppose it does come down to the one game. But surely form will play into it.
Plays part, doesn't it?
Partially, but I think on the day, I think form doesn't. People aren't going to remember.
If they're 1-0
they're
down
not
at
going to remember.
half-time.
They don't remember the Revs, unbeaten in 9 if they lose the cup final.
No, they'll remember
Fans-
that LA Galaxy
Exactly.
lifted a record 5th title, and they'll be
Yeah.
the team to remember. And it'd be such a shame for the Revolution to go unremembered this season because they've been so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see them finally lift one, in the sense that they deserve to be remembered for what a
Yeah.
side they've put forward this
No,
year.
it's true. I think going back to what you said, I think the modern approach will come out on top. I think the Revolution are going to do it. Honestly,
Yeah.
Score.
I'd like to go with 2-1. I'm not putting any money on it.
2-1
This
to
could
the
go
Revs.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Louis?
I have to agree. I do see the Revs prevailing, but not in normal time. I think this is going to end 1-1. Both sides sort of. I think it will
It'll be a
start
cagey
slow.
affair.
Yeah, I think both sides will start feeling each other out, almost like a boxing match. And then I think as the second half
Ease their way
progresses,
in.
we'll see both sides sort of trying to take chances. Set pieces will be vital. And I just think the Revs' fitness will shine through, and they'll clinch this on penalties in what should be a thoroughly entertaining game.
There's a very strong chance this could be end-to-end stuff
Yeah.
towards the last 20 minutes. I mean, they're both counter-attacking sides. If it is cagey, the last 20 minutes they'll both go for it, and it could be quite a spectacle.
Well, I think history's probably going to repeat itself. I'm going to say the Galaxy are going to edge it 1-0. As they have done the last 2 times that these two have featured in an MLS Cup Final. I know it's a long time
Yeah,
ago,
that's true.
2002, 2005. The Galaxy came out on top 1-0 after extra time on both occasions. We could see a repeat. I mean,
Yeah, there's no
nothing
reason
to
why
say why
not.
that would happen.
That's the beauty of the setup here. We could see anything from a 0-0 to a 5-all.
I think things like this, they're written in the stars. I think Landon Donovan's going to show up last game, hit the winner, and Galaxy are going to win 1-0.
Do you honestly see the Revs not scoring though?
If Pinedo plays like he did against Real Salt Lake, I believe that's a true possibility.
Yeah, but if Lee Wynn plays like he did against
It's
Everyone
all
else.
ifs and
Yeah,
buts,
exactly,
isn't it?
Columbus Crew.
If they turn up,
Yeah.
then it will be a game. Obviously,
I think if the LA Galaxy are
struggle.
going to keep a clean sheet, I think Imon Gonzalez plays a huge part in it. I mean, he was awesome against Seattle.
Well, the solidarity in midfield as well is going to be crucial
Yeah.
to breaking down the Revs' attacks.
Yeah, but if they're outnumbered, they could be caught on the counter.
Well, we'll all look forward to it,
I'm
that's for
looking
sure.
forward to
very
it.
much so.
Thank you to everyone for watching. Remember to get in touch with us on Twitter at MLSGB_, like us on Facebook, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, and visit the website at MLSGB.com. Enjoy the game on Sunday, and until next time, goodbye.